And Katerina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. I mentioned the cultural Marxism that infected Fortune 500 has not been anywhere near completely cured by the Trump administration because it's not something that a single president or presidential administration can do, particularly given all of the open field that the left, the cultural Marxists, were granted to pollute the institutions over which they exercise dominion. Here's an example. DHS arrives in Penske trucks at a Home Depot in the MacArthur Park area of L.A. early morning for early morning immigration enforcement. And once the story got out and the pictures of DHS officers arriving in Penske trucks. Penske, come on, Roger. Penske Truck Rental put out a statement. Penske Truck Rental is aware of recent reports and videos regarding a DHS operation in L.A. Penske strictly prohibits the transportation of people in the cargo area of its vehicles under any circumstances. The company was not made aware of trucks would be used in today's operation, did not authorize this. Penske will reach out to DHS to enforce its policy to avoid improper use of its vehicles in the future. Okay. All right. For more on this and other border and border security related matters, please be joined by Paul Perez, president of the National Border Patrol Council. Paul, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You know, it's a small thing, but it's a small thing that are indicative of big things. The pressure that an outfit like Penske still feels from the legacy media and the urban sanctuary city and state politicians to sort of just stay out of it rather than be supportive of law enforcement doing what law enforcement is supposed to do, which is, you know, enforcing the law and advancing the cause of public safety?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a perfect example of how a lot of these companies are still, looking at everything from that with that woke ideology. Everything goes back to, well, we want to stay on the side of not being canceled. And so what do they think? Because DHS used a Penske truck, now people are going to say, hey, Penske doesn't support immigrants, or Penske supports law enforcement. I mean, at the end of the day, our agents are out there doing the work of law enforcement, which is enforcing the laws that Congress has on the books. So they're not doing anything wrong. They're out there trying to protect this country as best they can.
Well, I mean, in defense of Penske, they see how the leftist activist set behaves when they don't get their way, and perhaps they have reason to be concerned. I mean, of course, you saw the vandalism that was unleashed on Tesla drivers and owners because Elon Musk was trying to reduce the size and spend of government. And they see what's happening to ICE, the attacks that have been launched against ICE, including most recently on Saturday, the ICE Yakima field office damaged by a rock throw. Parts of the facility compound were set on fire in an act of arson. A member of Congress who's been indicted for assaulting ICE personnel in New Jersey. So, I mean, to provide some modest defense of Penske, they don't want their stuff vandalized and their people hurt, because that's the way these bedwetters on the left behave when they don't get their way.
So where is Penske and where are the others when we discover, illegal immigrants crammed in the back of 18-wheelers and in the back of trucks like Penske and others? Where are they when they're, these people are crammed in there and we're catching them at checkpoints or in places like San Antonio where, they've taken a 2-hour journey in sweltering heat, and we rescue them. Where are they then? They didn't put out any messages before. Where are the rental car companies when, smugglers are renting vehicles to drop people off and do all these other horrendous things, taking advantage of them? That's the point I'm making is, look, you can't have it one way. If you're going to stand up and say, I don't appreciate law enforcement using my vehicle, then you should say, I don't appreciate criminals using our vehicles the same way.
Well, one would think, although, the cartels and human traffickers less likely to be concerned about what Roger Penske's outfit has to say.
Exactly. And so, the left and their dangerous rhetoric and the way they act, that's the reason that our agents are having these increased assaults, again, in Los Angeles, where we've been for a while. And look, we've been there, and they continue to make apprehensions. They continue to make arrests. That just shows you that everything that we've been saying, everything that President Trump has been saying about millions of people being allowed into the country, unvetted, criminal aliens all over the country, that's just Los Angeles. We're operating in other cities across the country, but Los Angeles, we keep getting apprehensions because there are so many illegal aliens out there in that area because it's a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state.
Well, we have one of those here in Illinois called Chicago. You're familiar with Tren de Aragua. There's an ICE Tren de Aragua, another one operation just recently here. And, we were, slightly behind New York and L.A. in the number of people that have been welcomed into this country, who were welcomed into this country illegally, who've been welcomed into Chicago and Illinois and underwritten by taxpayers in both the city and the state. This is, just to refresh your recollection, this is the posture of both our mayor and our governor. Brandon Johnson is the mayor. He just has a more pointed way of saying the same thing that J.B. Pritzker is also operating under. Same theory.
Again, it's unconscionable at a time in which so many working people and poor people need government to show up for them, that this administration, the Trump administration, has caused so much consternation and division. Look, we are a welcoming city ordinance. Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE.
What do you say, Paul?
He's putting the safety of his actual constituents, because remember, these illegal aliens, they're not constituents, but he's putting the safety and security of his constituents, at risk by saying we are going to protect those people that are illegally in this country over the safety and security of our constituents. And, in Chicago, just like other cities, there's been major crimes committed by illegal aliens, a lot that we haven't even heard of yet because we haven't apprehended these people. But every day, President Trump is proven right when we put the criminal records of those we're arresting up on TV and we show the American public there are some bad actors in this country that we're trying to get rid of. And J.B. Pritzker and those others in the sanctuary cities, they're supporting the illegal aliens over their constituents.
What is the situation at the border? We've, seen the reports on the data of illegal crossings down to historic lows, and so in terms of your perspective on what has happened, what the situation was previously, and what has happened in the first 7 months of the Trump administration.
Within 1 month of President Trump taking office, we secured the border at, in my 28-year career, this is the most secure the border's ever been. And so it didn't even take the 6-7 months that we've had already. It took less than a month. As a matter of fact, as soon as he was elected, there were already changes being made by the smugglers, by those cartel operatives, because they knew that President Trump was serious about how he's going to shut down the border. And it's the most secure that it's ever been in the history of this country. And it didn't take any laws. It took just policies instituted by a president who really wanted to secure the country, and we've done it.
Right. I mean, it calls to mind what he said in his address to the joint session of Congress back in the spring, which is we didn't really need a new policy. We just needed a new president. We know what to do, and the professionals in border security and in ICE and in national, these other national security related agencies, they know what to do. We just need a president that's going to provide the leadership to let them do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, the leadership and the support. And he put a great team in place with Secretary Noem and Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Pam Bondi, Chief Banks, Commissioner Scott. He put the right people in the right place that have the expertise, that have the knowledge, and really wanted to secure the country. And they've done that. And it's the best it's ever been. He left Joe Biden a blueprint, and Joe Biden on day one disregarded it all and created the chaos that we had at the border that President Trump came and fixed.
The rhetoric that is mainly directed at ICE, because they're in big cities and smaller communities doing these operations with the priority to remove public safety threats. The rhetoric from the left, the defund police, open the border left, where they are referred to as secret police. They're accused of kidnapping. That's the word that's used: kidnapping, disappearing people. They're making comparisons to secret police death squads in dictatorships in Central and South America of yore. Does that even sort of enter into a conversation or a concern within the law enforcement community about their daily jobs, about what they do and how they do it?
Sure. Look, anybody in law enforcement recognizes the increased risk to themselves. But what we don't appreciate and what we don't like is when they put the safety and security of our families at risk because of their dangerous rhetoric and because of the doxing. You said it earlier, the way the left acts when they don't get what they want. They want to attack. They want to create chaos. They want to create instability. And that's what concerns us most. And so, yeah, the tactics that we're using, including covering up our faces when we're out there because of the dangerous rhetoric by the left and because of their tactics and actions, yeah, it makes it more difficult, but it's not going to stop us from doing the job that we signed up to do. Our agents really, really care about securing America, and they're going to continue doing everything that they signed up to do, that this president is allowing us to do, because they want to secure America.
And with respect to these Congress humans who have made a big spectacle of trying to get into ICE facilities to would exercise their oversight responsibilities, at least that's the predicate. Do you believe ICE is being sufficiently transparent? I mean, if a congressperson wants to get access to an ICE facility, it seems to me that's fine. You can have access to it. You can see what we're doing because we have nothing to hide. And probably as much transparency as possible would give quick, would expose very quickly the lies about disappearing and kidnapping and all of the rhetoric that's being directed their way.
Yeah, they know the right way to do it, but it's political theater because just like they selectively edit the videos that are showing our ICE and Border Patrol officers and agents out there taking people into custody, they only show selectively edited videos. They don't show the initial encounter. They don't show the person trying to get away. They don't show any of that. They just show the ending of the video, and they make it look as if we're just jumping out and taking people into custody without, talking to them or making sure that they are illegal aliens. But that's exactly what you've come to expect from the Democrats, including a lot of those members of Congress who are just there for the political theater. They know the right way to get into a facility. They know exactly the process of how to do it, and they're not going to be denied if they do it the right way. But when they show up and with camera in tow, they're just looking for political theater.
Paul Perez is the president of the National Border Patrol Council. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And Paul Perez joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
I believe in aliens, ghosts, and